At this current time, Manchester United find themselves a rock in a hard place. It's very, very difficult now to decipher which players are going to be playing in this next game against Crystal Palace. However, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's given some updates. There's going to be team news coming in very, very shortly for a game only a few hours away. What's the match prediction against Crystal Palace? Stay tuned to find out. Let's do it. What's up everybody, it's the Aidan Sports Show. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be a Manchester United versus Crystal Palace match prediction where I will give my starting 11 and give my very scoreline that I think will happen in this game at the very end of the video. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on, share the video and share the playlist, and let me know in the comments below, will Manchester United make top 4? Will Luke Shaw, Brandon Williams and Mason Greenwood be available? And also I'd love to know your score predictions for this game. Now it's very interesting. Crystal Palace, a team that many people would say we should be beating, not really the team that many people are aware of these days. It's a little bit of an up and down battle for Crystal Palace. And Manchester United, on this incredible run of unbeaten games, are looking to capture top 4. Now, for many people, it's looking like they've lost faith in Manchester United due to that draw, and not necessarily the draw itself, but the performance within the draw. And a lot of people are saying that we are still favourites for top 4. It's kind of a mixed dilemma here. Manchester United need to get top 4. It's an absolute necessity just so we can guarantee Champions League football and not putting all of our eggs into the Europa League. It's an absolute necessity that Manchester United go out and grab every single victory that they can. We have players with the mentality that they should be going and winning every game, and this draw, hopefully they can take this draw and recover from it and hopefully go and get the win against Crystal Palace. That's the only thing that Manchester United needs to be focused about. I know we've got Chelsea after this, but that's not our main priority. Our main priority is top 4. It has to be top 4. We must play our best players here. We cannot leave anything to chance against Crystal Palace to go for the FA Cup. And if that's how we're going to line up, I'm going to be extremely frustrated. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to play the best team we possibly can during this time. Yes, this team might be a bit flawed due to the fact that we have potential injuries that might not be available for tonight's game, which again, we don't really know. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's given press conferences saying that hopefully that we can have everybody back, but there's a good chance that players won't be back. So I'm going to have to adjust this starting 11 accordingly due to what Ole has said. Some players might be back, other players might not be back. And we're going to just have to hope and wait and see who is actually going to play in this game, because that can really help determine who's going to win and who's going to be the standout performers. Anyway, let's go into the starting 11 for Manchester United. Now, in goal, David De Gea. Not really a fault for any of the goals. I think in the first goal for Southampton, he could have done a lot better. But he's had a fantastic season, and he's had a very good amount of clean sheets in this period of the Premier League. And despite him not having one of his greatest seasons, it's still good. It's still a good season. He's still a good player. And we have a better defense that kind of hides him from making those sensational world-class saves, but we do see them, man. We saw it against Southampton. What a save that was. And I feel more than comfortable with David De Gea in our goals at the moment. And again, he's always prone for a mistake, which is bad considering it's the goalkeeper. But even look at Alisson. Alisson made a mistake last night. No one's getting on his back. So in the end, goalkeepers make mistakes. It's not the end of the world. Yes, it costs goals, and in that case, Liverpool lost the game to Arsenal just by that mistake, as well as Van Dijk's mistake. So goalkeepers will make mistakes. The point is we need to support David De Gea. It's not an issue of saying that Alisson needs to go now because he made a mistake. Players make mistakes. It's a very intense, high priority games. In the end, it's going to happen sometimes. So David De Gea needs our support more than ever. We shouldn't be hiding or making excuses or saying that a player is not good enough based on a few mistakes when he's had more than enough seasons to prove that he's the best goalkeeper in the world. Maybe he's not at that level now. That's for your guys to make an opinion on. But for me, he's still a fantastic goalkeeper. and he should still be a Manchester United player. And I hope to see him next season. But just for this game, he has to start. He's the best goalkeeper that we have at the moment, so he has to start. Next up, a right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. 2 games now, we've said he's been okay, but he's not been at his greatest. I still trust Wan-Bissaka, of course. It could be just a slump in form. Maybe it's just him seeming a little bit disinterested. I don't really know what the issue is with Wan-Bissaka, but again, it's one of those things where we can't just say that he's bad now because he's had 2 bad games. Wan-Bissaka, for me, honestly, last game wasn't even that bad, but a lot of people, after reading comments, after looking on social media, a lot of people were criticizing Wan-Bissaka, and that's fair. If he has a bad game or he does something wrong, criticism is always okay. I'll always say that criticism is okay as long as it's constructive and not abusive. And I don't think anybody has been abusing Wan-Bissaka. Again, I don't know, I'm not Wan-Bissaka, but I don't feel like anybody has been abusing him publicly, and that's all that really needs to be said. Wan-Bissaka for me is still a fantastic player and is an absolute essential to this game, considering we don't really have much available at left back at the moment, at least according to what Ollie has said. So the centre back pairing, firstly Victor Lindelof. Again, I fought for the Southampton goal, but besides that, I thought Victor Lindelof was amazing, much better than Harry Maguire last game, and in the end, a mistake cost us a game, and it was his mistake. So it's not, again, I feel like I have to say with every player, we can't just say he's a bad player from a mistake. Yes, it's a bad mistake. It's one of the worst mistakes of the season, but prior to that, he was sensational, and he doesn't make many mistakes, Victor Lindelof. But that was a mistake, and he has to learn from that. He has to live with that, and hopefully down the line, when another situation like that comes, he can handle it properly. That's what it is, man. No one's perfect. People still learn. Victor Lindelof is still at the age where he can learn and develop, and we need to give him that time, just like we have to give everybody that time. Also, next to him, Harry Maguire. Again, Harry Maguire wasn't great last game, and he was also partly at fault for the second goal as well. I don't know, he seems to be man-marking Wan-Bissaka and not actually getting to the ball. I don't know what that's all about. But nevertheless, it's the same thing with Harry Maguire, man. We have to keep on going. We have to give him the benefit of the doubt. Again, he's not the main fault for the goal, but he was partly at fault for that goal. I'm sure that he has to learn from that mistake. And again, when that situation presents itself in the future, and it definitely will. There's not going to be a situation where there's a corner on the 94th minute. That's going to happen a lot for Manchester United, and we have to deal with it. And unfortunately, this time we didn't deal with it. But next time, when it counts, hopefully when it means more, we're going to have to deal with it properly, and I think we will. I think, again, these players are very, very good, high-caliber professional players. They have to learn from these things, and I'm sure they all have the willingness to learn from it. So, in the end, that's all that needs to be said on the centre-back pairing. Again, they got a lot of stick, but I feel like a lot of it is deserved. I understand that, but a lot of it needs to be a learning experience for them. And I feel like, hopefully, a lot of our fans will let them know that, because in the end, fans are one of the most intelligent fans are the most intelligent people in the world, especially when it's about their own club. So in the end, that's exactly what needs to be happening. Players need to give criticism, but just not be abusive. I'll keep saying it, man. Criticism is fair. Any athlete will take criticism. The coach gives criticism nearly every training session. There's always going to be something to critique, something to get better from. It's just the way that you go about giving that criticism that makes it all the more meaningful, or could be completely worthless. So in the end, hopefully these guys have learned from their critiques and from their mistakes. Left back, I'm going to switch it up here. I'm going to pick Brandon Williams. Now, according to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Brandon Williams has a cut underneath his right eye, and if he can see from that eye, which I can't believe he doesn't know if Brandon Williams can see from that eye or not, Brandon Williams will most likely play. No concussion, thank goodness. But I'm going to pick Brandon Williams because Luke Shaw has a swollen ankle, swelling up from last game, and due to that, it's been a lot of questions if he could actually play or not. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that he's hoping to have both Mason Greenwood and Luke Shaw back. Now, hoping for me does not mean anything, because hoping means that there's a good chance that it's not going to happen. So I'm going to pick Brandon Williams out of safety, because he's the one that basically said Brandon Williams will be fine. So if he's fine, then he should be playing. And I hope that's the case, man. I hope Brandon Williams does play, because in the end, I think the guy deserves game time. Yes, Luke Shaw has been sensational, but maybe this is the only chance for Brandon Williams to get game time. If Luke Shaw is out, again, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he needs to take time with both of them. Time's not on our side, but I understand where he's coming from. He needs to take the time to make sure these players heal properly. Otherwise, this is a long-term game, and we're only going to bring them back for a short-term goal. In the end, that's going to cost us badly. So I love to see that he's taking priorities and thinking long-term. And that's what Manchester United should be all about: a long-term plan, long-term visions, long-term goals, long-term career success for all of our players. And that means if they have to sit out the next few games, then so be it. Especially for Mason Greenwood, but Luke Shaw is in that as well. Going into the midfield, in my opinion, will stay relatively the same. Going into the CDM, Nemanja Matic, again, had a very good game last game. Wasn't really noticed. I feel like Nemanja Matic is that guy. If you're going to pick anybody on that team to go unnoticed, it's going to be Nemanja Matic, because he does all the little things. He might not be vibrant in the game. He might not be having those killer balls, having shots on goals, but he's covering for those people that are in the highlights. And in the end, there has to be a player that does this. There needs to be a player that doesn't get noticed a lot, but in the end is so essential to that team that when he doesn't play, the team crumbles. Michael Carrick, in my opinion, was the perfect CDM, because he wasn't well known in the game. It's not like he had killer runs into the box. It's not like he had fantastic long shots. I mean, here and there he could do it, and we've seen that with Michael Carrick throughout his entire career. He can have a good long shot, he can make runs, but he's more known for intelligent interceptions. He's more known for covering for other people and allowing them to go forward. He's more known for not necessarily being in the game, but being the main reason why the game is what it is, why we're so attacking. Matic does that for us. Maybe not, of course, not to the quality of a Michael Carrick, at least for now, at least in this age, but he's definitely done that for us, and he has to play. I think turnover-wise, we need to improve that, of course. Matic does give turnovers away, sometimes very, very carelessly. But in the end, that goes for all of our players. We need to help clean up our possession, clean up our turnover rate, and maybe, just maybe, we might get a little bit more efficient during the attack, which is something that we need to work on as well. Our attacking force has been sensational, but when it comes to percentages of shots actually converted, I don't think it's that great. Of course, we have Mason Greenwood with one of the highest in the world. Martial doesn't get any opportunities, and Rashford can miss fairly decent opportunities, and I think he can even admit that himself. Next up, Paul Pogba. Speaking of turnovers, Paul Pogba had a lot of turnovers last week, and one of them led to a goal, and one of them could have led to another goal as well. So with Paul Pogba, I feel like it's just a bad game. I feel like it's a bad run of form. I feel like it's a bad stint in his return to the Premier League. And I feel like after having so much time away from football, you were bound to get a performance like this from Paul Pogba. Now the question is, how long will this go for? Will it happen again? And if it does happen again, how long will it take to get out of this stint of form for Paul Pogba? This has only been one game, and for most people, he was decent despite costing the goal. And with Paul Pogba, I just don't know what to feel at the moment. I feel like he's an essential part. You know he's an essential part because as soon as he got subbed off, even with a bad performance, the whole level of the team stepped down. So there's an element of confidence when Paul Pogba plays with our team. He brings that. The problem is how many games will it take for him to become super consistent, to be the player where you expect it all the time, not have one of the games where you turn it over and turn it over badly as well. So for Paul Pogba, he's an absolute must, and I think he's going to have a revenge game today. I think he's going to absolutely be superb, and I think he needs to prove himself, and I'm sure he's not happy with that performance, and I'm sure he's going to have to come back from it. And having mentalities like Bruno around, that's going to keep in his ear, reminding him that he needs to have a fantastic game tonight for that poor game last week. I think Paul Pogba and Bruno are going to have a very, very good say in this game. Of course, that leads to Bruno Fernandes at the cam position. Last week wasn't his greatest game either, and I feel like he's always a little bit hard on himself, Bruno Fernandes. He might make the right passes, but it's other players' fault for not getting there. But he puts that on him as well. It's not like it's all, let's say if it's Rashford running for it, it's not all Rashford's fault. It's not all Martial's fault. It's not all Greenwood's fault. Bruno takes a lot of the blame on himself as well. He's very, very hard on himself. And you could tell every time he makes a bad pass or every time the ball gets turned over, it's almost like it demoralizes him. And that's just him being hard on himself. That's him having the work ethic and the drive to be the absolute best perfectionist player he can be. And sometimes it doesn't work out for him. But again, it doesn't deny how absolutely crucial he is to this team. It doesn't deny what impact he makes, the presence he makes, the mentality he has towards this entire team. When Bruno gets dropped and Paul Pogba got dropped, both of them, when they both got substituted off, we went to Park the Bus FC. We tried to neglect Southampton, play defensive, and it cost us. It cost us. Yes, it was one corner, and besides that, we were comfortably going to win that game. But one corner is all it takes. And if Bruno and Pogba were there, I'm not saying the outcome would have been different, but I'm saying that we probably could have got a third or fourth goal. And in the end, we decided to sub them both out. Bruno, I understand. Like, the guy's played every single game. He's tired. And Pogba, I understand as well. Just came back from an injury and he's had a bad performance. But sometimes you need to leave one of them on. And it's just a question of which one. But Bruno and Pogba were suffered from a draw where they probably felt like if they were on, things wouldn't have changed, things wouldn't have happened like that. So Bruno is a must, and I hope to see something out of him today. Of course, you always expect something out of Bruno, and I'm expecting something out of Bruno. Next up, the attacking force. We'll go to the right wing first. Now again, 18-year-old Mason Greenwood has a swollen ankle. Of course, people are expecting him to play this game, just like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said. He expects both Luke Shaw and Mason Greenwood to be there, hopefully. But I'm not going to pick Mason Greenwood because this guy needs to be protected at all costs. Anything that could potentially get an injury to be worse for a player like Mason Greenwood is not what he needs. So I say give him 2 weeks. Give him the rest of the season if he needs it. We start Daniel James today. Daniel James hasn't really had a shoe-in since Mason Greenwood's absolute stunning performances as of late. And in the end, this could really be Daniel James' time to step up. Now, we haven't seen much of a step up from Daniel James when he's been substituted into the games, mainly because he doesn't have enough time to make an impact. But even when he does, it just doesn't seem to work out for him. So this is the chance for him, and he needs to take it with both hands. I think Mason Greenwood will probably not play today. He might be on the bench, and for that, Daniel James needs to have a say in this game. Daniel James needs to absolutely give everything to this game, because this is going to be a proving point for him that he can make it as a first team player for Manchester United. He has to take it or leave it, and that spot is probably still going to be Mason Greenwood's when he's back. But I just don't think this is going to be the game for him, unfortunately. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope they take as much precaution as they can with Mason Greenwood. I don't want to see him rushed back just for him to end up having a serious ankle injury within the 90 minutes of that game. I don't want to see that. I want to see Mason Greenwood taken care of. This guy is essential to our future. He's clearly a fantastic player with a high potential. Could be anything. He could be world class. But the only way we're going to allow him to be world-class is if we keep him from getting injured, serious injuries, career-threatening injuries. We need to keep him from that. It's very, very rare that he could get something like that, but it's possible. And he's still growing. So things can happen. Things can change. We must make sure that does not affect Mason Greenwood, and we nurture him as much as we possibly can. At Manchester United and youth players, we've always had success with youth. And we obviously know how to manage them, so I'm hoping Ollie does the same here. And left wing, Marcus Rashford, again, I thought was fantastic last week and was one of our best players. I said he was man of the match, but I actually gave it to Martial upon heavy reflection. Just rewatching the game back, you could clearly see Martial was superb, was sensational. and was clear, far and away for me, man of the match. But Rashford was still up there for me, and I thought he was great. I thought this was by far his best performance since returning, and it's only going to get better from here, guys. I told you guys, you need to be patient. Once he gets into form, once he gets a few games under his belt, he's going to start performing again. The guy still has his pace, the guy can still perform, the guy can still whip in a ball, and the guy can still shoot on goal. And it was a beautiful goal. I thought his goal was probably the best goal of the night for me. And of course, as striker, Martial, I don't need to say anything about Martial. Everything I've said over the course of this return from the lockdown is everything I need to say about Martial. Just go back and watch all those videos. World class, underrated, people abuse him and they don't know what they're talking about. Especially the pundits. I'm aiming at the pundits here. Anyway, that's the team. What's my score prediction for this game? I feel like I need to go a little bit conservative. I don't know much about Crystal Palace. I know that they have decent players, but how they play is a big question mark for me. I don't know how they're going to play for this game. I'm going to pick 2-0 again, once like I did for Southampton. I picked 2-0. I'm not going to say they're going to park the bus, because last time I said that, Southampton just absolutely dominated possession and went on the front foot for the majority of the game. We can't let that happen again. So I'm not going to say anything about how Crystal Palace are going to play, because I might be wrong and I don't want to be wrong. So I'm just going to pick 2-0 Manchester United victory. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your score prediction. Top 4, can we get it? Chelsea have Manchester United next, but after that they have Liverpool. Now Liverpool lost to Arsenal. Does that mean, since they're not going to get their record, will they lose to Chelsea just in spite of Manchester United? Or maybe Leicester drop points against Spurs. Again, very, very tough games for these teams that we have an opportunity to get top 4 just by 2 or 3 wins. And we have an easier schedule, so if we blow this, it's going to be very embarrassing. But not only is it going to be embarrassing, it's going to be massively disappointing, because then we have to turn to the Europa League and hope for something out of that, when in the end we can get it now. Let's get it now. Let's keep it now. So even if we win the Europa League, we're just doing it for the trophy. We're not doing it to get into the Champions League. We're doing it solely because we want to win trophies. And I hope we can do it. Anyway, have a wonderful and safe day, guys. Take care and peace.